Hi, I'm Jamie, and this is,
My name is ZiQi.
and we are going to be presenting on the Charioteer of Delphi. Although we cannot directly pinpoint who created this piece of art, it is speculated that the Charioteer was made by the Greek sculptor Myron, who flourished in 480 to 440 BCE. Myron was born in Eleutherae, but lived most of his life in Athens. He had a knack for producing sculptures exclusively in a bronze cast and was best known for his study of athletes in action. He was a sculptor around the same time as Pheidias, who flourished from 465 to 425 BCE. Both of the contemporary Greek sculptors at the time were mastering structure and form inspired by the former Egyptian art, combined with the innovation and creativity that came with exploring the natural look of the human body. This transition from the archaic art to the classical art in Greece is also known as the severe style and can be seen in this single piece of work. We can see the combination of form and freedom when we look closely at the charioteer. His long, straight body is still meant to be seen from the front as it did in traditional archaic art. His torso is stiff and mimics that of a Doric-style column, and the drapery in the lower area does not flow as freely as it does in his upper chest area. However, the drapery sagging in his upper chest area creates a small illusion of space and movement. This is where the classical innovation of art and the study of the human anatomy begins to show. The small amount of gilt on his lips and eyelashes, along with the slight tilt of his head, helps leave a convincing human impression. We can see how the charioteer holds an emotion of modesty through these details in the face and the way he comfortably holds the reins in his hands, all in all conveying a story of victory and poise. The charioteer was founded in the archaeological diggings at Delphi, Greece, one of the locations where they held athletic competitions. They were made as deity dedications to the god Apollo. During the games, chariots were used during the racing portion as well as to commemorate the winner towards the end of the event. Thus explaining why the charioteer sculpture was given the look of modesty, implying that he was a winner. A more popular sculpture made by Myron was Discobolus, a disc-throwing athlete. This sculpture uses even more attention to human form in action, but unfortunately was destroyed in the ruins of Olympia, where they held the Olympic Games.
Um, as we know, the Charioteer of Delphi is one of the best-known ancient Greek statues and one of the best classical bronze casts. It was found by French excavatators in 1896 near the northwest region of the Temple of Apollo. The statue is a commemoration of the victory of Polycelos of Gela riding his chariot in the Pythian Games held in 478 BC at Delphi. It describes the driver at the moment of his victory when he presents his chariot and horses to the spectators. Polycelos is a tyrant in Gela, Sicily. It is believed that he dedicated the statue for two reasons. The first was that he wanted to commemorate his victory in the Pythian race, and the second was that he wanted to thank the god Apollo for the victory. According to the timing of Tyrant Games, since they were held every 4 years, this sculpture can be dated to be just after 478 BC, 474 BC, or 470 BC. And next slide. The Charioteer of Delphi was created by casting several pieces of bronze, utilizing the lost wax metal. In this way, the sculptor must first design and create a clay model. He had to model the features in the wax. Therefore, he had to cover it with clay, adding molten bronze causes the wax to melt and leave the final result. And bronze is a very expensive material. Most bronze statues from ancient times were used as red materials or eroded after being melted. Although Charioteer of Delphi is the last remaining bronze sculpture of Delphi, the character still has a similar blues appearance and turns green after a century of indoor exposure, except for some missing details on his left forearm and head. And the charioteer was almost intact. The statue's eyelashes and lips are made of copper, while the headband is made of silver. The statue is one of the few Greek bronzes to retain glass encrusted eyes. His charming jewel eyes evoke the spirit and balance that the Greeks of the classical period had called. In this way, the sculptor must first design and create a clay model. He had to model the features in the wax. Therefore, he had to cover it with clay, being molten bronze causes the wax to melt and leave the final result. And next slide. The life size of the Charioteer of Delphi is about 1.8 meters, as we can see it now in the Delphi Archaeology Museum. The character is a very young man, as shown by his soft side bends, like modern combat riders are selected for their lightness, but they also need to be tall, so they are often teenagers. And 1.5 meter is the average height for a teenager. Yeah.
And the last page is just our sources page. Thank you.
Thank you.